All right, happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome on into the Raiderland World headquarters. We got a big show for you tonight. It's overrated, underrated, rated right Thursday. We're talking 80s teen movies, the John Hughes era, the greatest era of teen movies all time. From Ferris Bueller's Day Off to Say Anything, Some Kind of Wonderful to Valley Girl. You know what the ones we're talking about. All right, which ones were rated right? Which ones were overrated? Which ones were underrated? You tell us tonight. Texas Tech basketball, Chance McMillan in a boot per Nathan there at the Avalanche Journal. I don't know if he was the first to report it, but I'll give him credit. Tech baseball allegedly playing tomorrow. We'll see if the weather's good enough. And the SEC and the Big Ten are continuing to take over the college football playoff. And, are you surprised? Why would you be surprised? All that, whatever else is on your mind, you know what to do. The early arrivals, if the audio is good, the video is good, give us thumbs up. Share this, put it out there. Thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street, all the communications in the chat line possible, whether you're on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, whether you're on our YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, or Facebook Live as well. Let's do it. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt. TheRaiderland.com is where you start your day. Our morning column featuring the Raiderland hot links, the coolest links, the hottest links, and the freshest links from around Raiderland and beyond. Hey, we link to it. We figure if we like it, you're probably going to like it. We try to put some cool stuff out there, West Texas related, tech related, music, sports, history, whatever else. Like I said, hope you guys like it. Appreciate you being out there. We're brought to you tonight by The Reserve. That's a culinary tavern, my friends, right there at about 103rd, 103rd and Quaker in Lubbock, Texas. Home of the best brunch on Saturday and Sunday. Great cocktails, creative menu, a lot of fun. And you can watch all the Tech games there. It's not a sports bar. No, it's not. And it's got great food. Absolutely, it does. The environment, the ambiance is fantastic. You can actually hear the music. And when the games are on, you can hear the announcers. Not a sports bar, right? So guys, if you want to take your wife, your girlfriend, not both at the same time, that would be awkward. Hey, the Reserve is a great place. Tell them we sent you the next time you were there at the Reserve. Also brought to you by McAlpin Chiropractic, the official chiropractor of Raiderland. Kevin Mack, he's our guy. He's been around for a long time, worked with high-level Texas Tech athletes. His slogan is not, but it should be, if your back's out of whack, don't call a quack, call Kevin Mack. Thank you. My work here is done. Check out his Facebook page. Great stuff on Facebook. Next time you think you need a chiropractor, you need to call Kevin McAlpin and tell him thanks for being a great West Texan and a great Red Raider. All right, we get it started there on the United Supermarkets and Market Street chat line. Big thumbs up from James on Facebook. Facebook is rocking early. Where are my YouTube channel people? Where are my Twitter people? And if you hadn't subscribed on YouTube, we're cruising up on 500 subscribers, which is a pretty big deal. The talking box is indeed on. By the way, on Twitter, and I just found this out, the number of impressions, the number of subscribers we have and everything else, what we do puts us in the top 1% of all Twitter accounts and everything else. I want to thank you guys for that. Thank you for making that happen. It's really amazing. And it's something we try to do for you guys and our clients and everybody else. But I was kind of staggered when I saw that research on kind of where we rank on all that stuff. So that's pretty neat. All right, hold on, I thought I go. No, it's just a junk text. Man, I'm getting a ton of spam text right now, which is kind of driving me nuts and everything else. Where do you want to start? Basketball, you got West Virginia coming up. Chance McMillan in the walking boot. This isn't really a surprise. Grant McCaslin saying it is a, out of an abundance of caution. Is there another kind? This time of year, that's just kind of how beat up you are. That it doesn't really surprise me. It doesn't really worry me at this point. You've got games here against West Virginia, or I say game against West Virginia. You'd love to manage some minutes at home and get out of there with a win. Then you got Houston on Big Monday coming to town. So it's a quick turnaround. Pick your poison in the Big 12. All right. What are you going to do? But that's probably the biggest news thing to come out of Texas Tech so far today. Other than that, baseball moved up the start time for tomorrow to 2 o'clock, where depending on what you're looking at, the hour by hour temperature, it could be around 34 degrees. I know they don't want to play double headers, but my gosh, it's going to be in the 50s on Saturday, in the 60s, and nearly 70 on Sunday. What are we doing here? I asked on the commentary today, 60 Seconds of Raiderland, do we need to lop off some games in the college schedule to make it better? Do we need to maybe push the start date even further? What do we need to do something like that? Because I still, having watched Tech baseball for now and covered it and called games for, good Lord, over 30 years, I still live in fear in February of pitching injuries. All right? That's the only thing I care about. Well, win some games, but get out of February just healthy going into March. You ought not to be playing baseball in February in 34-degree temperatures. Alan is getting in our YouTube channel right now. It's Raiderland on YouTube. It's all free. Subscribe. Don't miss a thing. Is that a Hugh Hefner jacket you have on? No, it's just a regular shirt, but I have on like black long johns, shirt underneath it, and then I got the white T-shirt because as a child of the 80s and 90s, or really a child of the 70s, but coming of age in the 80s and into the 90s, I can't hardly exist without a white T-shirt underneath. I am Hank Hill. Everything must have a white T-shirt. So no, it's just a regular shirt. Nothing crazy, It's just, I got layers going. It's 24 degrees. What is it right now? What are we sitting at right now here in West Texas? Let's go to the Mesonet, shall we? And our local Mesonet has us at 23 degrees right now. And it feels nice. Like the dogs were all excited today. Let's get out there. Let's do stuff. James gets in on Facebook. Right now, it's Raiderland on Facebook. You guys, everybody subscribe to the Facebook or follow or whatever it is that you do on Facebook, because we put a lot of different stuff out there and we have a lot of fun, do different questions and stuff. By the way, overrated, underrated, rated, right? Let's get those movies coming in. 80s teen movies, the overrated ones, the underrated ones, and the ones that were just dead on right, that all these years later we go. And I know some of you, maybe you weren't a teenager in the 80s, and that's okay. You're born when you're born. You can't do anything about that. But I know you saw them growing up in the 90s and maybe even in the 2000s. James, February baseball is the worst cold-wise. My son's track meet was canceled for tomorrow. Good for them. No need to be out there tomorrow trying to run around in 34-degree temperatures. That's insane and stupid. And I'm glad that they said, we don't have to do this. There's another day. There's another time. We don't have to do this. Chris, at least push the start date of college baseball to the end of February. When I was calling Tech games, we were starting in the last week of January, Super Bowl weekend or before. As Super Bowl continues to get pushed farther and farther out. But what we did almost exclusively back then, and I'm going back to the late 80s and all through the 90s, most schools opened up in good weather places. In the South, you had a lot of tournaments in Phoenix and in Florida and in California at Major League Baseball training facilities or otherwise. You got to San Diego and you play 3 against San Diego State, 3 against USD, and maybe I don't know who else. You would go to Phoenix and play in a 8-team tournament and everything. Now we have a lot of things now that the little classics that play indoors. Minute Maid, Globe Live comes to mind, and it's cool. That's fine, even though we hate indoor baseball. If we push the start back, we've got to eliminate games. We cannot compress the schedule anymore. And we talked about that on 60 Seconds of Raiderland today, that the compressed schedule now, because the northern teams demanded we start mid-February, even though we've taken off, 4 games, I think, over the years, or 5, I can't remember what it is. It is compressed it now. It's hard on arms. We don't have enough arms in college baseball, in my opinion, to do the compressed schedule. So what do we need to do? Do we need to do something again? You tell me. Chris, high school baseball just as bad. They started this week. I agree. And I know because we got to wrap it up because we got 18 rounds of playoffs. Playoffs? Get your comments in thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street. There is one supermarket that has great weekly ad specials. Unbelievable, unbelievable meat specials there in the butcher shop area where they butcher it up. And so, hey, go check it out. And just every day, like 90th and Quaker in Lubbock, I'll use that as an example. Hit the end cap in the meat section and see what they've got on special. You will be blown away by just all the stuff you can find there. Fake Natalie Maines, who may or may not be the real Natalie Maines, checking in on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, Twitter X. Dear Hyatt, how are you? I'm fine. Glad to know you're fine. Canada's independence is on the line tonight. I can't wait for our boys in boys in red, white, and blue to make Canada the 51st state. Thank you for the sports that you give us. I give you all the sports. I don't want Canada as a state. Territory, maybe. State, no. They're a welfare state until they can get out of their own way with their horrible economic policies, basically based on democratic socialism. They can't compete economically. They'd just be another vassal state, a welfare state that we'd have to pay for. They put brown gravy on French fries. It's a bad idea. I really don't want them as a state, right? But I love the trolling by President Trump. Absolutely love it. It's beautiful. Let them freak out. Chris is on YouTube, or no, that's Facebook. Rodney Dangerfield, Back to School, underrated. Yeah, 80s movie, teen movie? Is that a teen movie? Would we call that a teen? That's a good 80s movie. I'm going to vote no, veto, and say not a teen movie of the 80s. Underrated, overrated, rated right teen movies. I know he's going back to school. They're in college, teenage. It doesn't feel like a teen movie. I'll put it to the people. You guys can vote right now in real time here on the daily broadcast. Brought to you in part by the Reserve, a culinary tavern in Lubbock, and McAlpin Chiropractic. Back to school, teen movie or not? Broken Bat classics again. Old school. TJ jumping in. Ryan, at what point in time does Tech move on from Krista? I thought the loss the other night was very disappointing. Which one? Last night? Cincinnati, they led at the start of every period, quarter, whatever we want to call them. Couldn't close it out. You could see the frustration with Coach Gerlich in the postgame about just being able to get to that winning point. 3 wins in Big 12 play. I don't think they'll move on after this year. I don't. People say they aren't competitive. They've been competitive. That's the problem. They've been competitive and closed out the games. Then you've got the Aaliyah Chavez factor out there as well. And how much that plays into, do you get her, you don't get her? Is that a litmus test on making it? But I would be comfortable going another year based on what I'm seeing right now. They've still got to get, I think, just better. And when I say that, they need more scores. They've got a couple. They need more. They need to be a little more athletic, just a little bit better offensively. But I've got no indication that Kirby Hocutt nor the athletic department or the backers of the program think that now is the time to make that call. We'll see. You never know. See what I did there? James, eliminate travel baseball in high school to save arms. What do you mean by that? Eliminate travel baseball in high school. You don't want the high school teams traveling, or you don't want travel ball? Parents like to do travel ball so they can go out and party and drink and stay at hotels. Have car wash fundraisers. Jakob's View coming in on our Facebook. Or no, that's YouTube. The logos throw me off. I got all these logos on the side that pop up and everything. Let's see. Dr. Gus's dad at every game, front row, right behind him. Hyatt warm in the press box. Yes. Except for when we weren't. We didn't have a heater in the press box. One of my favorite stories, I was calling a weekend series against Kansas around 1997 or 98. And it's really cold and wet and everything. And I make the comment on there, and Finkner's not even there. I don't know where he was. Finkner's not even there. So I'm working it by myself, just bringing in slappies in off the street to do color with me. And I mentioned, hey, the guys down in the dugout, got to deal with this. We're going to leave the window open. We're gonna deal with the elements just like they are. And they're laughing because they're listening back in the locker room where they were going to stay warm out of the dugout. Well, it was like 40 degrees and misty and everything. Thanks, guys. And they were playing Donkey Kong. The clubhouse had an arcade stand-up Donkey Kong game that they had back then. It was really cool. Chris, too many eaters and riders in Canada. Absolutely. Spike Dykes would not allow Canada to become a part of the United States because of the eaters and riders. Craig, say anything is underrated. I tend to agree. I mean, Lloyd Dobler had it all figured out, certainly, with his career choices. It's odd because there for a while, I think if you're our age, if you were of that era, that it was a great movie, and then it kind of disappeared, and now it's been off the radar screen, and there's a lot of people that just don't know, don't remember Say Anything. Really good movie. Lloyd Dobler, great character. And they just got it in Under the Wires. I think that came out in 89. Came out when I was in college, actually. So it just came out in the 80s. Randy, how many fights tonight? 4 Nations championship game. What's the over-under? Over-under is going to be 1.5, and I'm going to take the under. I think they're playing this thing straight up tonight. I think they play it straight up. I think they got the fighting out of the way the other night in Montreal. We'll see. We'll see what happens there in Baston with the national anthem, and will they boo the Canadian anthem or not? It's Boston. They're going to be hammered. Career Opportunities underrated. It must be because I don't remember the movie Career Opportunities. Somebody help me out. Jakob coming back in. Fast Times, Valley Girls under. I can't put Fast Times under. Fast Times is rated right. Valley Girls is definitely under. And that was pretty much the movie debut of a guy named Nicholas Coppola at the time. And the great line from the movie, which I kind of butchered, but hey, if they attack the car, save the stereo. That was early 80s, before really any of us in West Texas knew what Valley Girls were. But when we saw the movie, we wanted to hang out with them. Ferris Bueller and Breakfast overrated. War Games under. War Games could be underrated. Absolutely. Absolutely. Would your little friend like to stay for supper? Great line. Ferris Bueller, I think, I don't know that it can be overrated. I think it's probably rated right. Breakfast Club, I can't give it the overrated. Or I can't go over. I think it's rated right. David Collier, honorary Slappy on the street. Slappy on the street, everybody. Just getting Slappies off the street. Coming in, doing color, 1998. Alan, Teen Wolf, properly rated. Okay. Going with Breakfast Club, underrated. Red Dawn under. Red Dawn rated right. But man, when we saw that movie the first time, you guys didn't get to experience if you were younger, and I know Alan's age. So if you were coming along in the 90s or whatever, the Berlin Wall had fallen down. I mean, when that movie came out, we're still thinking, I'm signing up for the draft. We're still thinking we're going to have to fight the Russians. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to the mountains of Colorado. We're going to do it that way. We're going to wear our letter jackets. We're going to kick their ass. Is Red Dawn a teen movie? I would give it a teen movie. They're all high school kids. And of course, Swayze is like 42 in the movie, but ignore that, right? Zapped with Scott Baio. Oh my gosh, what was the girl's name in the lead in that movie? Johnson, something Johnson. Oh my goodness, blonde, underrated, 100% underrated. Career Opportunity, says Craig, has Jennifer Connelly in it. Took place in a Target after it closed. Came out in the 80s. We're talking about 80s teen movies. Jennifer Connelly in the 80s? 80s teen movies. Pretty in Pink, Sweet 16, Some Kind of Wonderful. The triumvirate, in my opinion, of date movies that you had to go on. You had to take a girl to those movies. That was mandatory. You took a date to all of those movies. Of those, my favorite, Some Kind of Wonderful, Mary Stuart Masterson. Thank you very much. Playing drums. 16 Candles, maybe overrated, just a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Pretty in Pink. We had a lot of issues going on, man. Another Molly Ringwald movie. We got Duckman. We got, what's her name? Annie Potts is in there. We got a lot of things going on. You know, the dad not looking good. We got stuff happening. And by the way, almost every John Hughes movie, the bad dude protagonist, David Spade, brother, almost all the guys had girls' names like Steph. Alan jumping in from our YouTube channel. Weird Science, Just Weird. Great soundtrack. Soundtrack better than the movie. And we had a lot of those in the 80s. Soundtrack better than the movie. Stoltz in anything then is underrated. And my bad, Career Opportunities came out in 91. Okay, that one I didn't remember it as an 80s movie. I mean, barely remembered it when you mention it now, you know. Real Genius, properly rated. It's rated right. Here we go. 1986, Howard the Duck. What a weird freaking movie with Gina Davis and the other chick. And that's how it was listed in the credits. Gina Davis and the other chick. I don't even know how to describe it. You tell me. All the Right Moves. Leah Thompson, saxophone. Need a moment here. That may be underrated still. And Pipe. Craig T. Nelson. So much stuff going on. I'm going to get a little verklempt, I think, thinking about that movie. Good grief. It made you want to date a girl in the band. Dead Poets Society comes out in what, 87, 88? Teen movie. Jacob going with 16 Candles. Underrated. See, I think it's like a tick to the overrated side. And then for a while, there were people, you know, so the protagonist, Jake Ryan or whatever that. So I got called Jake for a while and everything else. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. Nah, 16 Candles. It can't be underrated at worst. Rated right, if nothing else, because of the donger. All right. Risky Business. If you could watch that, not want to ride the L in Chicago. Something's wrong with you. Oh, she's what every boy on the lake wants. Let me give you her number. Princeton could use a man like you. That was high-level VHS rental. Pause, freeze frame. I don't know if it's underrated. Craig, rated right, Karate Kid. No picket was safe on the fence in our yard. Karate Kid was good. Rated right. Yeah, I would put it in the rated right. I mean, it stood the test of time. It spawned remakes, quotes, everything else. It actually works. I'm going to give it rated right. Timbo, there on our YouTube channel. Wife saying underrated Repo Man. Teen movie? 80s teen movie, Repo Man? I remember the movie kind of. Not catching it on a teen movie slide, but hey, maybe it's an underrated movie. We'll put it up to the vote. Got a few more minutes left. By the way, we saw David Collier from KMAC 28, sports director, jumping in. He'll have lots of good stuff for you coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. Texas Tech basketball, West Virginia this weekend. Texas Tech, they made a change to the rotation. I believe it's Mac Hewer getting the ball Friday. Jack Siebert's going Sunday. And the middleman is going to be Perko. So how about that? How about Perko getting the ball in a starting role? He earned it. He looked really good. What was that, Saturday there at North Carolina? So a bit of a change in the always fluid early. Tim Tadlock will make changes. Tim Tadlock will find the right lineup, and he will do it all the way through the month of April. And that's one of the things I love about him as a coach, as a manager. He doesn't just get it wedded into his mind that this is the way it is going to be, that we decided this and this is right. He is one of the most flexible coaches that I've ever seen. And that's because he's a low ego manager. That doesn't mean he doesn't have any ego, but he's a low ego manager from the standpoint of, hey, we'll make changes. No way you're going to let Fandango in, right? Why would I? Rated right, St. Elmo's Fire. Soundtrack may be better than the movie. Movie was good. That was kind of not the pinnacle, but the Brat Pack. There in the early mid 80s. What does that come out in? 84? I want to say that was 84 with St. Elmo's Fire. Maybe 85. I think it was rated right. I can't remember if I saw that one on a date or not. I want to say I did. James, Tech baseball has to convert with runners in scoring position this weekend. 2 for 22 won't win the game. And you're going to get that against North Carolina, but I agree with you. They just really didn't, extend an inning, string together some at-bats, whatever cliche you want to use. They just didn't knock guys in when they had a chance. They didn't have a ton of chances, 22 chances over the course of 3 games. Cal Irvine is good, people. Football guy thinks this is like an easy game. It is not. It's not an easy series. But you've got to do better than 2 for 22. That'll be something that, we know the changes in the – sorry, I've got something going on stuck in my right eye. Yeah. That'll be something we look at the lineup tomorrow and kind of see if they look at some different guys in different spots. In defense, we talked about the defense extensively over the weekend. You got to play cleaner. As someone might say, you got to respect the game. Chris, and we know everyone's walk-up music. That was cool today. They released the walk-up music, what you would have. I asked you guys today what your walk-up music would be if you were, having music played when you walk into the office. Revenge of the Nerds. Kind of a teen movie, kind of a party movie, kind of not really a teen movie, maybe. I don't know. But it was great. Lamar. What was it, the Lambda Chi's? Was that the fraternity, the Lambda Chi's? Nerds! And the guy who played, Booger, or ends up on Moonlighting about a year later after that. Really good character actor. I can't remember the guy's name. You got a couple more minutes. Hey, Collier, I gave you the opportunity to jump in and do a good plug on what you guys can see tonight. We have not gotten into the SEC Big Ten taking over the playoffs. Maybe tomorrow night, which will be kind of a Friday night diamond talk, wrap up the week, everything else. Also, Texas and USC, the latest to announce no spring games in football. I'm fine with that. Could care less. No, I could not care less, actually. It would be impossible for me to care less. If Tech has a spring game or not. It doesn't matter. They probably shouldn't do it. And that may be something we even have to talk about next week, going into the, not spring, but spring football and different ways to do this. Bottom line, the colleges need to be adopting OTAs and doing exactly the way the NFL does it, and add about 2 weeks into a real training camp starting in July, getting ready for college football. You'd be much better doing that. That's the way our coaches did it in high school. Let's have 5 weeks of two-a-days. Craig on Facebook. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook, on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, YouTube. Subscribe, everybody, please. If you want to do something for us, subscribe. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, don't cost nothing. Unrelated, Lubbock lost a great musician and fiddle player this week. Rest in peace to Corn on a Mustang, Jim Bob Ashmore. Rest in peace. You can't have too many good fiddle players. And a good Corn on a Mustang. Hate to hear that. I did not know, and now we are aware of that. Oh, we didn't even get to talk about Zach Martin retiring from the Dallas Cowboys. All right, go America. Go United States. Beat the hell out of our – it ain't going to be a state. They're not worthy of being a state. It's a territory at best. No voting rights whatsoever. But we will be benevolent dictators over Canada, and you guys will love it. It'll bring back days when you were loyal to the crown, but this time around, you're actually going to have more fun and get better stuff. So we'll be paying attention to that tonight. Back with you in the morning, Friday. You know what to do. Most Texan thing you have done. We'll have our Friday hot links ready to go for you as well. The last thing you can do, other than subscribing to all of our platforms, share the dog out of this tonight. Put it on Twitter, Facebook, your homepage, whatever it may be. And we'll have it linked up on the website, theraiderland.com. If you didn't check out the commentary today, if you didn't check out our morning column, go back there, theraiderland.com. Thanks to everybody for jumping in. Thanks to the Reserve, a culinary tavern, McAlpin Chiropractic, United Supermarkets, creating all of the ability for you guys to jump in on the chat line. We got the greatest sponsors in the world. And if you want to become one, just let me know. Drop me a line. Hit me, DM me there on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media or whatever. All right, we'll see you in the morning at theraiderland.com.